Gulch, Gulf, Gullible. It is in here! Jules! Hey everybody, Julian here for D-News. Pop quiz, can you remember how many animals of each kind Moses took onto the ark? If you answered 2, think again, because the correct answer is 0. Moses didn't actually take any animals onto the ark, that was Noah. Now, if you didn't catch the error, don't worry, you're far from the first to miss it. In fact, a recent study in Psychology Press notes that failing to register errors in questions like this happens all the time. In this study, participants were asked questions that were both distorted with false information, like the Moses example, and questions that had no false information. The participants answered 35% of distorted questions as if they were correct, even after they were told to watch out for false information. But most of us do know that Noah was the one who brought animals aboard the ark. So then, why isn't this prior knowledge enough to detect the error? The study calls this phenomenon knowledge neglect, which means that prior knowledge about a topic doesn't save us from falling for semantic errors. Some have likened this to absent-mindedness. Others may simply see it as being gullible, easily duped or cheated. The study also found that not only do people often miss semantic errors like this, but they also use the false information to answer general questions later on. For example, if someone reads a statement that incorrectly refers to a prune as a dried date instead of a dried plum, that person is more likely to think that prunes are dates later on when they're asked about it. In fact, we're prone to accepting entirely erroneous stories as truth, which can cause us to believe in conspiracies, major myths, and fake news. So, if we're an intelligent bunch, which we are, why is it that we're prone to fall for myths about vaccines causing autism and the Earth being flat? Just because we're gullible doesn't mean we're stupid, right? Exactly. Multiple factors encourage gullibility. Images, for instance, play a powerful role in giving credibility to messages. Studies found that pairing claims with photographs increased the believability of a claim, whether it was true or not. We're also more likely to believe information if it's told to us by someone we're acquainted with, even if that someone is a talking head on a news program we don't personally know, but have grown familiar with simply by repeated exposure. Similar to how we grow familiar with a person, we also grow familiar with a message. Studies found that the more we see or hear a certain message and the more consistently that message aligns with our beliefs, the more inclined we are to believe it. Imagine having a bias against a certain person and then reading a headline condemning that person for committing a crime. Whether it's true or not, our mind already recognizes that the message is both familiar and consistent with previous thoughts, and suddenly we're one step closer to believing it. This tendency to interpret evidence in ways that confirm our beliefs is known as confirmation bias. These factors allow our minds to do less work and taking mental shortcuts when processing. So if you or someone you know has fallen into a gullibility trap, how do you get out of it? Well, it's not easy because misinformation gets embedded in our memory. Retracting it is difficult as it would leave gaps in the truth that we've come to believe. We have to do more than focus on the right facts. When we bring up the false information to debunk the myth, we're also providing another opportunity for someone to become more familiar with it and develop an even deeper conviction for the misinformation. Instead of trying to compare misinformation to the real story, we should focus solely on the truth, using clear language and pictures in the explanation so it's easier to process. So now that you know more about gullibility's tricky ways, consider yourself armed for the next time you enter the arena of news headlines and storytelling. Speaking of myths, how about clean coal? We have a video about why that might not be a real thing here. And be sure to visit our friends at Seeker Stories. They've got a new video on the power of Chile's student resistance movement right here. Okay, so did you fall for the Moses on the Ark bit, or are you just too smart? Let us know in the comments, subscribe for more, and I'll see you next time on D-News.